folks who helped get us in this mess and then suddenly say, well, this is Obama's economy. That's fine. Give it to me. My job is to solve problems, not to stand on the sidelines and carp and gripe.
It's always my responsibility. I'm less interested in allocating blame. It is time for companies to step up. There are some structural issues with our economy. You see it when you go to a bank and you use an ATM. You don't go to a bank teller.
You had an Arab Spring in the Middle East, and then you had the situation in Europe, and you had a tsunami in Japan.
The severe storms all along the East Coast.
Because we've got this big, messy, tough democracy.
There are still too many Republicans in Congress who have refused to listen to the voices of reason and compromise.
These are bills that Congress ran up.
But, you know, we've been a little bit lazy, I think, over the last couple of decades. Well, we didn't create the conditions.
You know, we've got a government designed by the founders so that there'd be checks and balances. You don't want a president who's too powerful, but this is part of the whole theory of George Bush, that he can make laws as he's going along. Believe me, the idea of doing things on my own is very tempting. We can't wait for Congress to do its job. So where they won't act, I will. And I've told my administration, we're going to look every single day to figure out what we can do without Congress. What can we do without it?
Kara, from the White House, what can you tell us about this, Mike?
Just a fascinating power play by the White House and Department of Homeland Security here. Heavy on policy, but of course political overtones affecting just 5 months before the election. Chris, very interesting. You remember the DREAM Act that had been backed by the administration, had been stalled in Congress. What the White House is essentially doing is unilaterally, through executive order, enacting portions of the DREAM Act. They're going to say they're not bypassing Congress.
Generations from now, we will be able to look back and tell our children that this was the moment when we began to provide care for the sick and good jobs to the jobless. We'll create 5 million new green jobs all across America over the next decade. We'll create another 2 million jobs by rebuilding our crumbling roads and schools and bridges.
We've got shovel-ready projects all across the country.
We will put Americans to work in new jobs that pay well and can't be outsourced.
Cops are still on the beat, and teachers are still in the classroom. Shovels are breaking ground, and cranes dot the sky. But the storms of the past are receding. The skies are brightening, and the horizon is beckoning once more. Shovel-ready was not as shovel-ready as we expected.
I believe that this country succeeds when everyone gets a fair shot, when everyone does their fair share, when everyone plays by the same rules. It means making sure that the biggest corporations pay their fair share in taxes.
That's why I've asked Congress to close some of the biggest tax loopholes exploited by some of our most profitable corporations to avoid paying their fair share, or in some cases paying taxes at all. It's not right to ask middle-class families to pay more for college before we ask the biggest corporations to pay their fair share of taxes.
When gas prices go up, it hurts everybody. Everybody who owns a car, everybody who owns a business, and high gas prices are like a tax straight out of your paycheck.
Do you think the President of the United States going into re-election wants gas prices to go up higher? Is there anybody here who thinks that makes a lot of sense? I think it is important for us to send some price signals to change behavior. Americans like to drive their big SUVs. They like to leave all the lights on in their house. We're going to have to change our habits. If we want to do something serious about that, it's not going to be painless.
Put an end to the politics that would divide a nation just to win an election, that pits region against region, city against town, Republican against Democrat, that asks us to fear at a time when we need to hope. I don't mind cleaning up after them, but don't do a lot of talking.
We don't mind the Republicans joining us. They can come for the ride, but they got to sit in back.
And then you got their plan, which is let's have dirtier air, dirtier water, less people with health insurance.
And a vision on the other side that basically says you're on your own.
I want you to argue with them and get in their face. We're trying to move towards the future. They want to be stuck in the past. If some of these folks were around when Columbus set sail, they must have been founding members of the Flat Earth Society. They're counting on young people saying no, and union members saying no, and black folks saying no. I believe America should be a place where you can always make it if you try. But apparently none of this matters to Republicans in the Senate. American workers are being denied their right to organize and collectively bargain. When I'm in the White House, I'll put on a comfortable pair of shoes myself. I'll walk on that picket line with you as President of the United States of America.
And another Democrat missing from the action, President Barack Obama.
Where is that man? Where is he? What happened? Now that you're in the White House, you couldn't find a comfortable pair of shoes to get out on that picket line?
Well, you know, the truth of the matter is that as President of the United States, I've got a lot of responsibilities.
He then flew over Wisconsin to go to his home state of Illinois.
How could he be going around the Midwest, going to Chicago for the weekend, and not stopping in Wisconsin?
I'll walk on that picket line with you as President of the United States. We aren't out there hungry, selling America. We've been a little bit lazy, I think, over the last couple of decades.
We've lost our ambition, our imagination.
You go to a bank and you use an ATM. You don't go to a bank teller.
Country that had gotten a little soft.
Change cannot happen overnight. What can we do?
We've been a little bit lazy.
What's going on in white America, U.S. of KKKA?
You never heard those comments?
I hadn't heard those comments.
He was selling them in the lobby at a church.
What can I tell you?
How many times did you go to church a month?
You know, I'd probably go twice a month.
And he never said inflammatory stuff?
He didn't say stuff like that, all right?
Did he say white people were bad?
No.
It is this world, a world where cruise ships throw away more food in a day than most residents of Port-au-Prince see in a year, where white folks' greed runs a world in need, apartheid in one hemisphere, apathy in another hemisphere. That's the world.
And he never said inflammatory stuff?
He didn't say stuff like that, all right?
Did he say white people were bad?
No.
Where white folks' greed runs a world in need.
What can I tell you?